Friday, October the 21st, you should be reading in Jeremiah 15:51 as well as 2 Peter chapter 3. If you read Jeremiah 15:51 and you've been following this reading plan, then congratulations, you have finished the book of Jeremiah, all 52 chapters. Yes, I said we're reading 15:51 today, but I think it was this last week. Yeah, this last week you should have been reading in 52 earlier this week in the storyline and stuff. So, this concludes our time in Jeremiah together. You've made it through all 52 chapters by this point. And maybe, just maybe, as you read 15:51, you thought, man, it's just more of the same stuff. It's more of this God being angry at the nations around Israel, right? And it kind of can seem that way when we read through the prophets, right? That God's just an angry God. But we all know and that we worship a God who is the same yesterday, today, and forever. We worship a God who is slow to anger, abounding with love. And here's the thing. As you read through this, you got to remember that Jeremiah is a collection of writings that took place over 30 to 40 years that Jeremiah had been warning people. And not only the Israelites, but the nations around them. He had been preaching this message of repentance and changing your ways. God was gracious with these people for over 40 years, giving them an opportunity to change. And finally he said, since you will not change, the consequences of your actions are coming. And he forewarns in 15:51 what's going to happen actually 70 plus years into the future. When Israel's taken into captivity, they're going to come back from Babylon. It's going to be a good time for Babylon and Israel, and then future kingdoms will surround Babylon, they'll attack them, and Babylon will fall. And this is a foreshadowing of what's to come. God is telling them the consequences are going to catch up with them in the future. And in the middle of all this, you have a people group who are waiting for God to show up, right? You have the Israelites who've been waiting. Some of them have been listening to Jeremiah, some of them have been changing, but most of them haven't. And by the time many of them read this, they're already in captivity. When they read this and they hear the words of Jeremiah, and they finally are ready to recognize it, they're in captivity in Babylon. And they're reading through the things in the last 50 chapters of the things that he's told them were coming for years, that their parents ignored, that their grandparents ignored, and they are ready to make change. Because you realize, if you remember, if you read through these 50 chapters, that God has promised Israel, you're going to be punished for your sin, but I will redeem you. I will bring deliverance. Be patient. You have to suffer the consequences of your sin for a little bit. You see, everybody, you, me, the whole world, we are always dealing with the consequences of our actions. Sometimes those are good consequences and sometimes those are bad. Sometimes I love the consequences of my actions. I get rewards for, we call those rewards, right? And sometimes there's discipline for my actions, and yours too. And Israel is going through a season right now where they are not enjoying the discipline of God. They are not enjoying the things that they've sowed and what they're reaping from their discipline, or from the disobeying of God. And I was reminded of, as I was reading through this, and maybe this is off a little bit, but I hope you track with me on this. I was reminded of a video I watched one time on social media. And it's these people put some kids in a room with a giant marshmallow. And the marshmallow's in the middle of the table, and they left from like 7, 8-year-olds in the room, one at a time. They filmed them doing this. And he said, hey, I gotta go away, but when I come back, there'll be more marshmallows. Don't eat the marshmallow. Don't do it. Don't eat it. And they leave, and they have this on camera. Like, you can watch the kid. You can see about a minute, it's okay. 2 minutes is okay. You get about 3 or 4 minutes into waiting with this marshmallow that you want to eat in front of you, and you're a kid. It starts to get harder to wait. You start longing for the marshmallow in front of you, and you start forgetting that you were promised more marshmallows if you would just wait. And it's really funny watching these videos. You see some kids like grab the marshmallow and look at it, and they go, and they start remembering, oh no, I don't want to eat this, I want more marshmallows. They put it down. Some of them eat the marshmallow, and then the guy comes back in the room and they're eating it, and they don't get any more marshmallows. And he shows them the bag that he was bringing in. And it's a really cute video, but the whole point is, if we wait, things are better. The reward is better. If these kids would have waited, they would have had a bag full of marshmallows if they were just patient enough to see it through. The Israelites, you and me, we're promised the same stuff. We live in a world that's falling apart. We're living in a world that's full of the consequences of my sin, your sin, the people's sin that's around us. And we live in a world that's constantly saying it's falling apart, it's going to the wrong way. And God has promised us a reward in heaven. I think sometimes, though, we get distracted by the little marshmallow in front of us. And we forget the deliverance God is bringing that's better. And the last chapter you'll read today in 2 Peter chapter 3, Peter's wrapping up this beautiful letter to the church scattered about the Roman Empire. And he just reminds them that a day to the Lord is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. God's time is different than ours, but his promises are always fulfilled. God always keeps his promises, just not in the timing we wish sometimes. So be patient. Learn. The whole point of the Bible is to learn from the people who've gone before us. Learn from their mistakes. Learn not to be quick to rush into things, but to be patient, to wait on the Lord, to trust in his promises. And I'm not telling you it's easy. I have trouble being patient and waiting too. This is something we have to learn together. But it's worth it. Waiting on the timing of the Lord is always worth it. So let's learn to be patient together and follow God in his timing and trusting him with his promises that he has for us. Church, until we see each other again, you are sent.